Welcome back to another episode of our project analysis series. I'm Gina.
I'm Eric.
And today we are introducing
Vela Bay. So Gina, Vela Bay, for me, I think is a very interesting location. I think as you can see from the image itself over here, you have a very beautiful sea on the right side. Okay, so I think this location itself, cheap or expensive?
Wow. Look at that view.
This kind of, sure, expensive.
Yes.
But of course, I think one thing is what we want to go through here today. Is it acceptable to actually enter into what the pricing has been indicated as at the point of filming, right? For Vela Bay itself. And we want to do a similar comparison in between their surrounding as well as what is upcoming. Let me dive in a little bit deeper for Vela Bay. So of course, just now what you saw was the day, now it's more of the evening. And this is where you can see it's beautifully unblocked.
And I think why the artist impression came out this way, it's because Vela Bay has got a good 70-ish%.
72 actually.
72% of sea view, and there is both views. There is the southeastern view and the southwestern view.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so now this is the topics that we'll be talking about today, which is, of course, the first one will be a location. Vela Bay, we are actually talking about a new township. It is right above Bayshore MRT.
What's sort of leading, Vela Bay is at Bayshore MRT, and then it's leading, the whole new township leads all the way to Bedok South MRT.
Correct.
So it's a really new township in that sense.
So that we will touch on a little bit. And then of course with the project info, then definitely the supply and demand. As of all our other videos, that's why we will actually still talk about the sweet spot. Okay, where is the sweet spot for Vela Bay? This is something that we will dive in a little bit later on, as well as our layout analysis.
Before we start,
if you feel like after watching the video, you feel like you're still a bit confused, feel free to reach out to any one of us.
Yes, please.
All right. Now, so location. I think as just now what we mentioned, Bayshore. Okay, this is where Vela Bay is right above Bayshore MRT, which is the Thomson East Coast Line. I think across the past few years, the government has been developing the Thomson East Coast Line quite a fair bit. Okay, so that is where Gina mentioned we are actually close to Bedok South as well. Now later on, we will actually touch on a little bit more on what are the transformation. But main thing we want to focus on in this particular image itself is we are overlooking towards East Coast Park. Okay, so I think a lot of buyers in Singapore, especially if they want to look for sea view, most of them will actually come towards the east.
East Coast, yeah.
The East Coast. But I've never really heard of someone that's saying that, oh, I want to get sea view, I'll go West Coast.
West Coast, a lot of the shippings, a lot of cranes, you know.
Yes.
So unless you sort of enjoy that view, East Coast it's a cleaner view. It's a vast, very vast sea view in that sense. Have you heard of people who says I go by in the north part of Singapore?
Not necessarily. Not really. So of course, when it comes to sea view, the first thing that comes to mind is always East Coast. Now, this is the transformation that is gonna happen in this entire new town of Bayshore. Okay, so as we can see over here on the bottom left itself, this is where Bayshore MRT is, and is also exactly where Vela Bay is. Okay, this entire image that you see is actually grabbed from URA. Now, this new township, it is very, very similar to what we see of Marina Bay. Okay, meaning to say that they are creating, in Marina Bay, they call it a 10 minutes neighborhood. But for this itself, it's a little bit longer because it stretches from Bayshore MRT all the way to Bedok South MRT. Now, in this entire area itself with the upcoming township, we do have a Singapore largest SAFRA that is more than 30,000 square meters over here. Of course, with future medical, health and medical, even future education plot of land.
And a recently released integrated
Correct.
hub.
So this is something that I'll touch on a little bit more in detail later on, which is the future integrated transport hub. As you can see, 22,500 square meters of commercial space itself. So that is really, really huge. Now, for this entire township, government has also planned a lot of greeneries inside with what we call the linear park over on this side, and we have the central park. So it really divides the whole entire living space in this particular area. So the question is, will all this affect Vela Bay? I'm pretty sure to a certain factor, it definitely does. Let's go into deeper in terms of the master plan. Because right now, if you look at the Singapore map itself, you won't see all this. Only when you go into the master plan, you will definitely see. So the main two things that I would say, the main things that are already confirmed right now is definitely Vela Bay and these two BTOs. Now, then the third one, yes, the integrated, it is already confirmed. The land has already been released. Okay, so of course now we will head on towards the project info. Then I think in 2025, when this first came out in the first quarter of 2025, the entire market was like, wow. Bayshore 1388 per square feet per plot ratio. It's
How
really
much are they selling for?
Yeah.
Okay, but then bear in mind there are eight bidders, and they aren't the bidding price aren't far away from each other.
Correct.
So we don't have what we have. It's we don't have Singhai trying to outbid the rest at an exceptionally high price. Okay, but importantly, November, and this is at Bedok Rise. Where's Bedok Rise?
Tanah Merah.
Okay, November. which is what? Half a year later? Bidder at 1330. 1330 versus 1388. Bayshore versus Tanah Merah. Seaview versus potentially no Seaview.
MRT view.
MRT view.
Maybe.
Okay, so we just showing you this to talk about the land price, and I feel it was bidded at a good price.
Yes, I mean, on hindsight right now, when we look at it, we think that it's a good price. But back then when it first released, everybody's just like, wow, we cannot believe it. The land price is going so high.
Yes.
Okay, but of course now when we look at it, we're like, even Bedok, same thing. If you really zoom in on it, right, you see that the different competitors over there, like even the second bidders itself, it is not too far away from the first bidder who won Bedok Rise itself, which is All Green Properties. With that being said, I think Singapore land prices are increasing. Of course, that is a topic for another day. Now, then we will dive deep a little bit on Vela Bay specifically.
All right, so as we mentioned earlier, this developer is Singhai. So Singhai has done Grand Dunman, Sora, One Sophia, and these are all pretty new developments.
Correct.
Like last year or 2004, 2005 developments. And then we have TMW Maxwell, Park Clementis, and STOP, and then Penang Road.
Yeah, so a lot of them are really notable projects, like well-known projects, and most of them are actually still under construction at this point of time.
So this is Singhai. About the project itself, it's 99 years lease. There are 2 blocks of 31 stories, and each level has got 9 stacks.
Yeah.
Right? Total of 515 units. Car parks, 50% car park.
Now, I mean, when we talk about it, a lot of people, when they first hear it's 50% car park, they will sure be like, so little. But one thing to take note is we are right beside
at
the MRT, which is Thomson East Coast Line, and it really brings you to multiple areas in Singapore.
Yes. I mean, like to Orchard is probably about 20-ish minutes.
Correct.
Yeah. So 50%, as of today, we still haven't seen a 50% in the East Coast area.
Yeah, East Coast definitely not.
There have been 50% in a few other clusters, but they are not ready for resale yet. So we don't know what's the response like. But with the convenience of all the MRT, and you see the 2-bed, and the 1-bed and a 2-bed is reaching up to about 40-ish%.
Correct.
It could be that we really don't need that much of a car park.
You're right. I mean, so far, even 80% parking lot, which is the norm for multiple projects back then, right? They are not fully filled up. I believe government has also seen this. That is why they are so confident, to actually, just release 50% parking lot. I mean, Singapore is heading towards something what we call car light.
We have here the site plan for Vela Bay. We have 1 bidder, and there is only 1 stack of it right here. And if you remember, we talked about Seaview. Your Seaview is this way,
which is the southeastern.
Remember East? East means no sun.
Yeah. And of course, just to orientate a little bit, the bottom of this image itself is actually where East Coast Park is.
Yep. Okay. So this is where East Coast. These are your Seaviews unit, right? And then we have the 2 beds. We have a 38%, 197 units, 38%. 3 beds at 34%. And 4 beds at 17%. 5-bedroom, you also only have 1 stack, and it is the Seaview unit, Seaview stack, right? There is 2 penthouse units,
but very big. But based on what I know, it is not up for sale. But at this point of time, no confirmation yet.
Right. The other important thing that we all want to know is where are the side gates, right?
Yes, definitely.
First, before that, this is the MRT.
Correct.
Okay, MRT is here. And the entrance to one of the MRTs, according to one map, it's here.
Correct.
The entrance, okay, to the MRT. And this is one of our side gates. This is the side gate, so you just do this and you are in the MRT. The other entrance, of course, is at the vehicle entrance. With the vehicle entrance, there's always a side entrance. And the other entrance is up here so that you have access to Bayshore Drive. You have access to the ECP Bayshore Walk and access to the MRT. Some things people want to know is where is the bin center. The bin center, the substation, the genset are all at basement.
Out of sight, out of mind. Yeah.
Okay, so nothing to worry about. Now let's look at the elevation. With the elevation chart, one thing we want to highlight is that B1 here is street level.
Yes, that's correct.
Right, so level 1 for this development is elevated.
Correct.
Okay, so we have here B1 at car park. So B1 is car park and that's street level. Okay, and we see that most of the units are start from level 5. So level 5 will mean literally about level 6.
6 to 7.
6 to 7 from street level. Okay, some are here. This is also level 5 and some starts at level 3.
Correct.
Right, these are the 2 penthouses we mentioned. potentially not for sale for now. We are waiting to hear.
Correct.
But if you are interested in the Penthouse, connect with us directly, okay? And then we will check in about them.
I think one thing a lot of viewers might want to know is, if I want to get a unit over here, I want to get a clear sea view, because whenever we talk about a project, we want to know the USP. And the USP, I mean, which is the unique selling point for Vela Bay, is definitely getting a sea view unit,
yes.
right? Which floor can I clear the sea view? In a sense, I'm blocked.
If you are a regular to East Coast, if you stay in the East, you know that the trees there aren't small.
That is true.
They are rain trees, you know. They were built, meant for shade and everything, so they aren't small. Easily about 10th floor, 11th floor. To clear the trees, to have that sea view, you need at least 11th floor onwards. Okay, so 11th floor is this green line. Now, if you really want nice sea view, get higher than that.
Definitely.
Because 11th, likely what's happening is you will see the top of the trees and you get this almost a flat sea view look.
Basically clear the tree.
Yeah, you sort of clear the tree, but if you get a bit higher, you have a top-down view of the sea and you see further away.
Then the next question is, if let's just say I'm not able to get above level 11. So for example, is level 9 something that is also okay? So I mean, based on my personal experience, I do have a listing in Cote d'Azur around 8th floor, and I do see pocket sea view. Of course, I do still see the tree, but I also see the sea. Technically, you're still getting a pocket sea view over there.
Okay. But if you definitely want sea view,
like a pure sea view,
get
definitely.
above 11,
Yeah,
okay?
correct.
Okay, so we come to the exciting part.
I think for Vela Bay itself is quite interesting because the unique selling point is talking about sea view. And developer and the architect has specially planned out the way the building and the unit facing to be about 72% sea view as what you can see. Sea facing, I would say. And usually a project you will see north-south facing. That is very, very normal. Okay, but right here, you can see that there are multiple facings.
Yes. If you talk about sea view over here, which is above 11th floor, it's about 52%, which is a good number, right? All the red arrows here will tell you that this is not sea facing. Okay, so over here, you're actually facing a next plot of land. Currently empty, we have no idea
what is it going to be,
happening.
but it's going to be a residential.
Yep, residential plot, okay? This one, you will be facing, of course, another plot of land as well. Currently, again, unknown. Okay, so this one, we know who you are facing. You are facing Costa del Sol over here and the Bayshore up here. Okay, so these are the three. For the sea view, which is more interesting. Now, this one, you get full sea view, but very, very expensive, vast sea view. Over here, you are seeing a
little bit of
Costa del Sol, and then the sea view all here, because this is where Costa del Sol is, right? So you will see a little bit of Costa del Sol and sea view. So it's almost like partial, depending on which units you select. And over here, I really like this view though. This is a sea view and
it's
no
southeast.
No west sun.
I think when we look at this itself, then we can really identify, because the indicative prices is already been released, but where are the stacks for the indicative price, and what is the different tiers, how developer will actually place it?
And that goes into a pricing strategy.
Correct.
Right? Yeah. Okay, so the last stack is this group here. This unit, you will notice you have got a little bit of a partial sea view. You will also see your neighbors over here, whereas the others over here has got the sea view.
Much more clearer.
Hopefully, this plot, the developer don't build a block here. So if the developer builds a block here, you're a little bit blocked up already.
I think quite blocked. But of course, at this point of time, I mean, when we look at the map, I mean, based off our deduction, don't quote us yet. But because over here, this is where the cul-de-sac road right now is. So there is a low chance that developers might actually build a block over here if, let's just say, the entrance is the same.
Yeah, I mean, if this one entrance is here, and if their entrance is going to be here, for example, unlikely a developer will build like that. But and also there will be setback, right? So if there is a setback, they will probably build it here. You still have, and this is a 4-bedder, okay?
Correct.
You still have partial, but you will still get sea view, okay? So these are the views. Okay, so let's attempt at ranking the sea view facing, okay? Eric, what's your number one sea view?
Southeast.
Southeast.
Sure.
So this is one for Eric. This is definitely one for me as well, right? Just because I stayed in a West Sun house before, it's horrendously hot.
Unpleasant, I would guess.
Yes, horrendously hot. I really don't like it, but of course there'll be people who likes it.
Yep.
However, in Singapore, it's inevitable. If you want full sea view, you have to accept two things. Number one, the expressway.
Definitely.
The noise that comes with it. Number two, the potential of the West Sun. So it makes it rare for sea view and no West Sun.
So I mean, when we talk about ranking of the different views, that is something that if we choose it as a highest, that is where likely the pricing to be the top premium.
Yes, that's where the developers, everybody would think about it.
Correct.
And the premium will be loaded over that. So this is our first. I should say this is second.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so after the no west sun, let's go for the west sun.
Yep.
After all, it's southwest. It's not a direct. It's angled, and some parts of the year you may not get it.
Correct.
Okay, but you get to see very beautiful sunset. Right, and should I say this is third?
Yes.
All right, so over here we are looking at third. You get to see the sea view. However, you may potentially get partial Costa del Sol view.
Correct.
Okay? But also because of the partial Costa del Sol view, the premium might be a little bit lesser.
Correct.
Okay. And then the last one we have, it's here because some of these stacks are a little bit blocked.
I would call it a partial sea view with
Partial
a pool
sea
view.
Actually, with a pool view, not bad. You
Correct.
know? Okay, so then maybe if you get 11, 12 floor, you still have a pool view
Yeah.
to look at. Alright? Okay, this side, we think it could potentially be a lesser premium just because of this plot here.
I mean,
Unknown. It's an
buyers
unknown.
as yourself, even the developers, they know that there's a next plot of land, and right now it's unsure what is it. So definitely they will be very cautious about it as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's our ranking. You decide what's yours. We are ranking it based on Vela Bay's unique selling point,
Correct.
which is the sea view. Okay.
So now, the next thing is we want to really talk about the sweet spot in Vela Bay, which is to understand a few things. Number one is actually the supply and demand and the premium price gap. Because of course, when we talk about a sea view unit in the entire Singapore itself, you don't get much projects that
not
have
many.
that,
Yes.
right? Now, then the next thing is the sweet spot in Vela Bay. What is it? So this is where we need to understand the first thing, supply and demand.
Yep.
Okay, so when we talk about supply and demand, this is where this entire map comes again. Okay, which is the new Bayshore township. This entire Bayshore township itself estimated the total supply, they will have about 10,000. 7,000 of them will be a HDB and 3,000 of them private. Okay, now with 515 units over here at Bayshore MRT, and don't forget the next plot of land that already has been confirmed at this point of time, it's actually over here, the integrated development. Now,
We're expecting about 1,200.
correct. So over here, estimated 1,200 plus the current Vela Bay that we have, which is 515 total, about 1.7, 1.8.
1.8.
Now, that is where you might see another 1 to 2 private in this area left. Okay, and then the remaining residential will definitely be your HDB. Now, a lot of people has been saying in the market, when you have a lot of HDB upgraders, I mean HDB in the vicinity, or you are sure to have upgraders in this area. But one thing we have noted for this particular kind of area, especially in the East Coast, we realize that most of the buyers come from private. That's number one.
Yep.
Number two, BTOs over here, as you can see, these two right now is under construction, Bayshore Vista and Bayshore
Yes.
Palms. They estimated about 1,400 over units, and they are plus BTO.
Yes. So what does plus BTO means?
So plus BTO means that the buyers, the owners over there that they bought from HDB, they have to hold on 10 years.
10 years.
MOP period 10 years. That's number one. Number two, we dive in a little bit deeper. You can see that only Singaporeans will be able to buy plus flat in the resale market.
Yep.
Okay, it's very different from what we see the standard.
regular
Correct,
standard,
because standard one, even the PRs are
PRs
able
can
to buy. Now, secondly, of course, this 30-month wait out period is as per normal, as
Yep.
per what we have right now. Now, the second very interesting thing is actually the income ceiling,
Yes. It
Because-
is the same.
and it's for resale.
Yes.
So this is where we have, based on prevailing income ceiling, should the income ceiling increase in the future, then
It
it
will
will
follow.
It will follow.
Yes.
But based on today's market, 14,000.
40,000. Resale buyers who wants to buy into Bayshore cannot exceed 14,000
Correct.
in their income.
When they buy the resale
when they
unit.
buy that resale unit. So for example, because it's sea view, right? Let's
Correct.
say I have a HDB sea view.
Yeah.
I'm like, wholesale, I can sell for 2 million.
For
2
example.
million HDB.
Yep.
But with 14,000, how much can these people loan?
Then that is where the really calculation have to
Because
come
it
in.
is the MSR, it's HDB.
Correct.
Max loan 1 million?
Less than that, because 16,000 income is actually 1 million loan.
Oh yes, correct. For ECs is 1 mil. So
Correct.
this is 14,000. It's less than 1 million.
And then it could be a stretch for a lot of the resale
Yes.
buyers over there.
Correct. So that's where the catch comes in. Okay?
Correct.
So
Another thing is they do have a clawback as well.
yes.
So for the plus and prime HDB, which based on the new scheme itself, anytime you sell in the resale market, you have a 6% clawback towards the government, okay, based on your selling price. So this is something that a lot of sellers will rethink their selling price, selling strategy, because they really have to make sense of all the numbers before even focusing on whether they want to sell or not.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is where, of course, waiting for the building, waiting for the MOP, that would take many, many years. By the time Bayshore will be of a certain age as
Correct.
well.
I think by the time the first sellers, the first HDB BTO owners can sell probably about 13, 14 years.
Correct.
Let's say 13 years. 13 years. Bayshore would have been able to sell like 3 rounds.
2 to 3 rounds
to 3
actually.
rounds already.
Yeah. So that is the portion where we talk about the HDB upgraders. Now the next thing is, interestingly, now Bayshore currently is in the preview period at this point of filming.
Yep.
Now, government actually announced this plot of land, which I think is a little bit early.
Yeah, they announced it just before the preview. Like,
Yeah, just before the preview. I mean, now even the developers for Vela Bay itself, because of that particular news that has been announced, they are definitely going to be very cautious.
Correct.
Especially the pricing.
Yes. I mean, remember in previous videos, we talked about sellers, we talked about buyers, about demand and supply, right?
Correct.
Developers are sellers. Remember, developers are sellers. Now that I have 1,280 units as competitors, how does it affect the sellers?
Correct. So this is something that you as a viewer has to think about, and how will it affect you and your future, potential in this area. If you are, let's just say, investor or even an own stay, this is something you have to think about. But if you are still unsure, feel free to connect with any one of us.
Yep.
All right.
I think in Vela Bay, exit strategy is very important.
Very, very important. But also depends on what's your holding period, you as a buyer itself. Now, so the next thing I will touch on is actually the premium price gap. Because as what we have mentioned, sea view is something that is rare, but does it hold its value? Okay, so this is where we want to see a property that has some sort of a better view as compared to a property that might not have that. Will it hold their pricing? Okay, so this is where we really show you the difference in the price gap. Okay, number one factor for this particular site, we want to talk about project that is about 5 years apart.
Yes, and because why we do 5 years apart? Because we are looking at, remember we talked about Costa del Sol, that is just next to Vela Bay and the Bayshore. So
Correct.
the Bayshore and Costa del Sol are 5 years apart in terms of their TOP.
Correct.
So we are looking at as close as possible apple-to-apple comparison. We scored through the eastern side of Singapore. Of course, the other parts easier to find, but we scored through the eastern side of Singapore to find you a apple-to-apple comparison. So the first one over here, it's in Pasir Ris, Livia and the Palette.
Correct.
So they're all 5 years apart.
So this is where you see the TOP year is 2011 and 2016, so 5 years apart, right? Now, when we look at it itself, a difference between two properties that is 5 years apart, when they started out, at the left side, you can see that the price gap is very minimal. Now, after a long period of time, this is where in 2026 over here, you do see the price gap jumps to 18.1%. It means to say that the newer property eventually still hold the price pretty well, after even though they have a 5 year price gap itself, 5 years difference. Now, the next one that we have found is actually for Bedok Reservoir site.
It's got reservoir view.
Correct. So this is something water, right? So waterfront waves over here as well as Baywater. 2011 as well as 2006. With a little bit of a better view as compared to Livia and the Palette. Okay, now you see the price gap back then was 15%. Okay, and fast forward today, you see the price gap jumps to a 25.82%. Okay, so same logic applies here. A project within 5 years, they hold their property value pretty well.
The newer project.
Correct, the newer project. Now, then the next question is, how does this relate back to Vela Bay? Because Vela Bay itself, I got sea view, other people don't have.
Sea view, limited supply.
So now, then this is where you see the Bayshore TOP at 1999 and 2004 for Costa del Sol. If I zoom in a little bit, at the bottom of this image, this is where you really see East Coast Park. Costa del Sol itself, half of them will have sea view. Okay, over on this side, sea view. But some units, they do not even have sea view at all. Whereas for the Bayshore being blocked by Costa del Sol, zero sea view, right? Now, how is the price difference like? Now, this is where at the start, we can see the year 2000, the price gap was just 17%. 17%. But fast forward today, over here, you can see the price gap widen all the way to 45, close to 45%. Yeah. Now, this is very important to understand. It's because if, let's just say, my Q number for Vela Bay is not that great, are we still able to get a so-called price protection for your unit itself just because your unit, your development has a sea view? So this is where we can see Costa del Sol over here, the pink color line. Okay, the prices will actually still help to push up those non-sea view units. So seaside residence is a property that is of course sea view, by the seaside, right? So this property actually TOP in 2021. We want to understand a little bit whether the sea facing units will actually help those non-sea facing units or partial sea view facing units protect their price. Okay, whether will they still sell slightly higher just because of the development overall pricing. Now over here we can see for this stack itself, stack 9, it's a sea facing. In the resale market in 2025, they are actually selling for a 2,007 per square feet. Now, meaning to say for a 3-bedroom, people are already accepting the price to be 3.4 million. Now, if I'm a buyer today over here and I saw a unit over there, but yet it is partial sea facing, will I pay the sea facing price? I don't think so.
Nope.
So that is where we want to understand a little bit how much are they willing to really pay.
Yeah.
So this is where you see stack 22 over here, 3-bedroom.
Also a 3-bedroom.
Also 3-bedroom per square feet, definitely slightly lower. And they're paying 2.8 million over there.
If you look at the PSF, it's like 90 difference.
Yeah, so it's really not that far off if you ask me.
Correct. Not that far off from having a sea facing.
Correct.
Yeah.
The non-sea view, the prices will eventually still get pushed up just because the
Correct.
sea facing helps it to push it up.
Yep, let's look at another example. With stack 15, you have
Full sea
stack
facing.
15, a full sea facing went at 2.6 PSF, and then the non-sea facing at a quantum of 3.18 mil, and then the no sea facing.
Stack 34.
No sea facing went at 2.523 and 2.58 mil. I mean,
That's
if you look at it, it's not a lot of difference
in terms of the per square feet wise,
in
it's
terms
not.
of PSF.
Yep.
And let's look at this point of 2.523 PSF for a no sea facing. Would you buy this anywhere else at East Coast?
Hard.
I mean, like it's almost like, will you spend that money?
For people who love the East Coast, we'll just go East Coast, nowhere else.
Yep.
Yeah.
correct.
So with that itself, when you are so close to the sea, and of course your development itself is properly built, you know, like seaside residences itself, that is where, despite having no sea view, or rather some of them even partial sea view, people are still willing to pay for it.
Yep.
Okay. Now the third point to actually take note is actually where is the sweet spot for Vela Bay. Most importantly, we want to talk about same thing, the developer pricing strategy. Okay, which is what we mentioned earlier when we talk about the sea view pricing. Do take note. I believe for this particular development, okay, number one, they will sure do per floor jump,
For sure. The higher you are, the better view you get.
especially after 11th floor.
Yes.
Now, view jump. This is where we did our ranking earlier on. And based on the indicative price, back then we were still trying to ponder whether, this will actually happen. But in fact, Vela Bay, they are actually doing unit type jump as well. Because based on the indicative pricing, the bigger bedroom types, the per square feet is higher.
Higher.
Back here again, same thing. When we talk about what could be the most valuable, if you are an investor, because knowing the fact that right now, even if you get a no sea view, because your development has a sea view and it will push your price up. You have to weigh out yourself in terms of the pros and cons, and what's your objective as a buyer yourself, coming here as an investor or own stay, because own stay buyers usually come here. I also want to have that sea view.
Home stay buyers, again, emotional.
Definitely.
They will want what they want.
Willing
and
to pay.
Willing to pay because I am staying in. I'm enjoying all
Correct.
my views, all my luxury in that sense. You know,
Correct.
things and the comfort. So that's what they go for.
This is where we analyze in terms of your own objective, and then how do you decide in terms of the premium. So if I can put it that way, this, in terms of the pricing, this is number one, number two, number three. Number one, the smallest number could be the cheapest. Then followed by the sea view itself. Then this is where we have 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yeah. So this is just based on the premium that the developer might follow, and it likely to be this way as well. Maybe the 6 and 7 they might interchange, but who knows? At the end of the day, we need to really understand the price difference and what are the options that you are looking out for, and do a comparison and see what makes sense for you. Okay, so of course, after hearing, if you are still here by this part of the video itself, if you are still really confused, feel free to connect either Gina or myself, and then of course we'll be more than happy to actually assist with you and share with you what we know. Now let's move on to the floor plan analysis, and starting off, we have the one bedder.
This is a very rare one bedder facing the sea.
I think it's damn rare.
This is a go for it. There's only one stack,
Overlooking towards the
sea. So you have a pretty much full sea view.
Yes.
And no west sun.
This unit itself is perfect for investors as well as those that are looking for own stay, but you don't need like a 2-bedroom minimum. You are just having your living alone by yourself, and you think 1 bedroom is enough for you. I think this is something that you really have to look out for, which is the 1 bedroom.
If it's something you're looking for, just go for it. There's not many units.
27
units only.
We have the main door coming in over here, and coming in, we do have a very nice tuck-away study area, followed by the open kitchen, living, followed by your master bed and master bath. So imagine opening the main door, you immediately see the sea view
if you are only one person staying in, right? You notice you can knock down that bedroom wall for an even bigger bedroom come living area.
Now next, moving on towards the two-bedder. So of course, with the two-bedroom itself, we do have the compact as well as the premium. Now this is where we really need to dive in a little bit in terms of the site plan, where we see the different color. We already color code it for you, so it will be easier for you to see and reference it where the particular layout is. So now we have to understand the USP for Vela Bay itself. It is the sea view. Okay, so that is the first criteria that we want to dive into, when it comes to selecting our unit. We have 3 different layouts, which is the A, B, and C. For A, this is overlooking the pool as well as the sea view. For the second one, B, this is where you do not have any sea view. 2-bedroom C, okay, this is where you have the entire sea view. Me and Gina, we actually, discussed quite a fair bit on this particular layout, these 3 layouts.
Yes.
Like, which would I choose? Even because 2-bed, 1-bath, likely to be either very small family or investors.
Yes.
We have concluded that our top choice will actually be 2-bedroom A.
A.
Okay, it does have a wider and broader view when you come home. After that, you will actually get a very wide view
feel.
of your entire bedroom unit itself as compared to B or even C.
B and C has got a advantage is that you can create a door to separate the kitchen from the living room.
Oh yes, so right over here. For A itself, it's a little bit harder, but there are still room for your own imagination and creativity. Why at the end of the day, we still choose A. Because we have the USP, yet we also have pool view, which is over on this side, which is the view will be like that towards East Coast Park.
The plot on the right side of our plot, we have no idea how the
How's it gonna
developer is going
be?
to build up, but we do think that if at all, if a little bit blockage, it will be very, very, very partial. So because of the risk of the unknown, we think that it might be more sensibly priced, and therefore you will get a USP, which is a sea view, and you get the potential of buying it at a lower price.
It really brings out the entire value of your property that you'll be getting. For the 2-bedroom premium itself, we do have 2 different layouts, which is the same exact size, 689 square feet. But the main difference is the feel that you get when you arrive at your unit.
Right. I feel Vela Bay is very much a feel thing,
Yes,
if you look at
yes.
sea view, it's how you make you feel.
Correct.
And therefore coming into the house, coming into the home is again how it makes you feel.
Correct. For these 2, same thing. Remember, the view is very important. Okay, so if I zoom in a little bit, this is where you see A, this is where you see B. So by now, you will know that A
is our USP.
is pure sea view.
Yes.
Okay, B is
Inward view, you probably see the Bayshore.
At it a little bit deeper, we look at the floor plan itself. We have decided to choose A. It's because one of the main reasons is this is where the main door comes in. Over here, you do have a very wide kitchen.
Yes.
Your entire walkway towards your kitchen and your dining area, it is very wide, about 3.4 meters wide. Okay, whereas when you do a comparison to B itself, it's about 2.9. So
and I sort of like that the kitchen is tucked inside.
Correct.
And then it flushes. So it sort of doesn't jut out into the alleyway.
Yes, so this is what Gina was referring to. Whereas compared to 2-bedroom premium B, this is where you have regular just popping out of the wall. That is why you do not have that wide view. When we look at the other area, it's more or less the same. It's a dumbbell layout. Fully functional, no wasted space.
So between these 2, we will go for A.
So the other 2-bed, 2-bath layout that we have here, 678 square feet for both layouts. The main difference is not really the view this time. It's actually in the layout. Over here itself, our choice for here between the C and the D, we will choose the C. Number 1 reason is it is also sea view. But don't forget, D is also sea view. So where is the difference? The difference is actually in the kitchen. Now, when we do a comparison over here, this is where you will really see the kitchen itself. It changes the way your house looks when you reach home.
So imagine coming back to this D layout. You walk in, the doorway seems broad and wide, and then suddenly there's this wall that comes in,
Correct.
and then you sort of like suddenly have a narrower walkway to walk in. It's almost like I need to walk through a tunnel to get into
Yes.
my living room. That is what makes us feel like we would choose C
Correct.
to be the better layout. Because looking at that, both have sea view. C, you might see a little bit of Costa del Sol on your right, but you still get the sea view. But coming into the home, it makes you feel better being able to walk through a broad walkway into the house instead. So that's how we chose this.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, when you're buying a 2-bedroom, you also really want to think about your exit strategy in a sense. By the time you want to sell, how would the resale buyer will actually feel?
Yes, when they step into the house.
Correct.
Right?
They would definitely compare different units out there within the development, and this is why we will choose C Premium because of the foyer area.
One of the difference will likely also be because it has got Costa del Sol's view on the right side, it might be priced a little bit lower. All right, so again, it comes back to your queue number, right?
Yep.
When it's your turn to make that decision, to make that choice, it really depends on the price
And what's available
and
at
what's
that point of time.
available. So type C could be availability at a way higher level and therefore more expensive than type D, where you have a slightly lower level to choose from and slightly cheaper. So that's decision making at that point in time.
Have to compare what's the available unit and at what price itself. If the disparity is not high, definitely go for C. But if the disparity is way too high, then that is where you really have to consider D instead.
Another consideration was also if you remember earlier slides, right? We saw seaside residence.
Yep.
The full sea view versus the partial sea view. When they enter the resale market, the PSF difference when they were selling is only about less than 100 PSF difference. So if you can buy a more reasonable price unit now, and then when you sell, you sort of sell a little bit lesser than the full sea view one, why not?
Why not? So eventually, it will still help you to push the prices up a little bit.
Correct. And there's still some savings.
Heading on to the 3-bedroom,
beds.
we have 3 different layouts for the compact.
Compact.
We do have the 883, 893, as well as another 883. This is where we have the B facing, okay, and then this is where we have the C facing.
Or C facing.
So C facing is over on the purple color. Then we have the A, which is the 883 square feet, but it's a pool facing but do not have sea facing. With that in mind, I think you all will also know our decision lah. Our top choice for this 3-bedroom compact is actually the C. The C
facing.
and the C facing.
So for the differences in the 3 layouts, you will see that A is a classic layout. You come in and all the rooms are all laid out over here. And this one, when you enter, 2 bedrooms over here, master bedroom and 1 bedroom, and another bedroom on the opposite side. Not a common layout in current times. So that's the difference in the layout. Now the C layout that we like, it's a dumbbell layout. Master and 1 common room over here, another common room over here. Then the other thing will be the kitchen. So this is enclosed kitchen,
Enclosed kitchen.
and this is an open kitchen. So it really depends on which layout you prefer.
I think another thing to take note for the 3-bedroom especially, for A and C do not have any window for the kitchen as well as the bathroom. But when we come to 3-bedroom B,
Which is this B, and it's the inward facing.
it does have a very nice enclosed kitchen, yet it also have your windows.
Windows, and where's the master bedroom? Windows.
Eventually, it's quite a tough choice, but we still pick C is because of the very wide foyer plus kitchen and the USP that you have in Vela Bay.
Our view will be pretty much like that. Although you get partially blocked by block 1, you still get sea view. And buying into Vela Bay, it's really about sea view. That's our USP here.
Everybody come here 就是 I want sea
Vela
view.
Bay 就是要 sea view 的 or people who really want that area but don't really want to spend that money on a sea view. Let's go to 3-bed premium.
We have 3 different stacks, but one size.
Yes.
It's honestly quite similar. Just the foyer difference is the only difference between these 3 layout. For stack 3 itself, we have the proper sea view. Okay.
Without West Sun.
Stack 13, we have the sea view with West Sun.
And a little bit of
a
the
little
view
bit.
of Costa del Sol on your right.
For stack 1 itself, then this is where we have the view towards Costa del Sol.
Inwards view.
Inwards view. In that sense, size, no difference.
Only foyer that is different and only the view that is different.
Yep.
This is where we will choose our top choice to be B itself, because we want to get the USP, getting the no west sun sea view.
And also because 3-bed usually tend to be own stay lah.
Correct.
Right? So when it's own stay, you want the best for your family, you want that full sea view. The other option definitely would have been 13, which is C. You sort of like see two things on your side. So it's not as vast a sea view. So that's why we go for B, and that's purely because 3-beds tend to be own stay. When you do a resale in the future, resale buyers wants to feel things, wants to see, and they will be impressed.
As long your unit feels good, likely they will carry on.
Yep.
Now let's move forward towards the 4-bedder.
Four-bedroom.
So for the 4-bedroom itself, these two particular layout, same size, similar facing, position different part of the development. 4-bedroom A itself, 1173 square feet, we do have full on sea view. Okay, now the next one is stack 15, which is the B, full on sea view as well. But of course, like what we mentioned in the 3-bedroom, for your stack 13, your stack 15 as well, you do see coastal del Sol on your right side. In terms of the difference in the layout, same thing.
Entrance foyer. Main thing is the entrance foyer and where it is placed in the development. So depends on the stack that you prefer.
At the end of the day, if you take a look at the main components of a 4-bedroom unit, all are there. Enclosed kitchen with a home shelter and a yard, your living and dining, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bedroom, followed by your master bath, common bath. For B itself, same thing. 1 component, 2 component, 1, 2, 3, 4 bedroom, master bath, common bath. So this is where we see that the main difference is really just in the
Foyer. And also B may be priced a little bit cheaper just because of its location.
Because-
it doesn't has got a vast sea view. But what's more exciting actually, it's the next layout. This is
This the one.
4-bedroom private lift. It's 1378 square feet with private lift, like wow. And it is sea view as well. But I think earlier we have also touched on the development next door.
correct, the future plot of land.
The future plot of land is pretty much unknown now, but we sort of studied it a little bit like earlier we show, right? Because of the way the route is, and unless that developer really insists on building their block right
in
at the-
front of the entrance.
and the entrance.
Presumably what we think the entrance will be. Okay.
Yes, so if the developer decided to just
Do
do
that.
that, then you will have a little bit of blockage, but otherwise you should have still very good sea view. You know, like East Coast, private lift, sea view,
Ooh.
nice, right? Like I sort of
Atas.
like it. I like it better than the other two. And I also think that because of the riskiness, you know, the unknown of the next plot might be priced cheaper as well.
It could be.
So why not, right? 4-bedroom, private lift, possibly cheaper.
Yeah, especially in the East Coast area. This is where when people look for luxury, they really go all out. So this is where we have the back door. Okay, so this is the private lift with the lift lobby itself on this side. A very good thing is the private lift as well as the back door, which is what we call the service door. They don't coincide. They come in from here, the back door. You are still not interfering with the living and dining area.
Yes.
You do have your own secret passage in that sense. Okay, and your private lift itself coming over here, this is where you will really see the living as well as the dining.
It sort of doesn't open up to your living and dining. Sort of a bit more privacy. I mean, it's really a private lift lah, but even more privacy. This actually would be our choice.
Yes, definitely a top choice
Yes.
for us in the entire development, if you ask me. Because I think the functionality and the way they build this layout is really beautiful. Especially when you have ensuite for both common, ensuite bathroom here as well.
Pretty much all
Pretty
the bedrooms
much,
are ensuite.
yeah. So with that itself is really 100% usable. So this is why we will choose 4-bedroom as our top choice.
Top choice. Right, 5-bedders. Let's go to the 5-bedroom. This is also very exciting.
This
We
one
did think about, whether if we go for a 4-bedroom private lift, should we just
go for 5.
should we just take that big leap and go for a 5-bedroom? But we think that it's potentially a half a million extra.
Yeah, because this is 1582.
1582, correct.
And you see earlier, this is 1378.
Yeah, so if you have potentially extra half a million or more and you decide a 5-bedroom, let's show you what this 5-bedroom is. It is definitely unblocked, full sea view. Okay, it's definitely full sea view. On top of that, you have, other than the master that is here, nice size for the master, you have a junior master at the other end. On top of that, another bedroom that has a private ensuite. not sharing with anybody else. 2 bedrooms here will then definitely share this toilet. So while not every bedroom is ensuite, you have got 3 private ensuite bedrooms.
Yes.
Right? The 4-bedder was still sharing, but
Correct.
this is like 3 private ensuite bedrooms. At East Coast area, 4.25 frontage in your living room. That is so beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
We have one of its kind that is very rarely seen in the market, which is the Penthouse. The size itself is huge. 1765 in today harmonized market. So
Full
this is
sea view?
yeah, full sea view at the top floor. You get the greatest view in Vela Bay. If you want, you just pause the video, take a look.
And then we will go on to the penthouse 2. Okay, so basically 2 penthouses are the same size, 1765. This, however, you do not get a west end, and hopefully the next plot, the developer doesn't build a block that will block you, right? But otherwise, you still get a very good sea view. Okay, maybe a little bit on the if you orientate inside the house a little bit on your left, which is your master toilet, you might get a little bit of blockage.
Yes, correct, over on this side. Because the next plot of land likely to be over here.
Yeah.
Over here. Okay?
If you want to know more, or if you need clarification, you wonder what we're talking about, this is our contact number. Scan or just dial our numbers.
Feel free to connect with any one of us. Then, of course, we'll be more than happy to actually share with you, in terms of what are your options. And, of course, we have come to the end of our Vela Bay analysis video. So, and with that, of course, thank you so much for watching, and
We'll see you in the next video.
see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.